Hi, it's Ida, and in this video, we're going to be going over how we analyze different neighborhoods and or farm areas. So I want to show you how I do that. The first thing is we log into MRIS and get into the general search. And I want to look at sold information, and you could put a different subdivision if you want in here, a city or a zip code. So for this one, I'm just going to do 20171 zip code here in Northern Virginia. And I want to put a list date on here. So I want to look at basically what we're looking to do is find out what's the highest turnover neighborhoods. So you can put a list date of the last 5 years if you want, um, or the last 3 years, whatever it is that you're looking for. So you would basically put the date in here and add the plus. So we're going to look at the sold information. Now, if it is more than 5,000, then we need to come back and readjust this. Now, I'm just doing the basic one. I do have special exports and displays set up for neighborhood analysis. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to use the default MRIS listing information. So if I click on export, you're going to see that I have 2,038 records for the zip code 20171 since 2012, all the sold information. So I'm going to go ahead and just export this, and you save it as a CSV file. So once you save it, you're going to see, if you're using Chrome, it's going to be on the lower part here. It's going to show you. I'm just going to go ahead and open it. And I'm on a PC right now, so my default for a CSV file is Excel. If not, you can open it up in Excel, and here you're basically going to see the same information that you would on the screen. And what we're really looking for is an analysis of all this. So you're going to see there's a whole bunch of different subdivisions, obviously all the sold information. This is also a great way to segment this information and create reports for specific neighborhoods. So you can actually sort by the specific neighborhood name and then take this information and create a report from it. But in this video, we're going to be looking at what's the highest turnover or the highest number of solds for the specific zip code. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Insert, and I'm going to insert a pivot table. Okay. So we're going to select a table, which is right here, which is what I have selected. And we're going to choose this to be a new worksheet. You can also put it in the existing worksheet if you want, but I always click on New Worksheet and then click OK. So now we have a pivot table that's asking us what information do you want on the columns and rows. So what we want to do is we want information per advertised subdivision. So I'm going to make that all the rows. So you're going to see these are all the subdivisions that are on that export field. So then what do we want to see as values here on the right hand side? We want to see how many has sold, so the number or the count of sold listings, and then maybe we want the average price and maybe the average days on the market. So in order to do that, we are going to look at price. I'm going to do the list price here. So when I drag it in, it does the count of list price, which is perfect because it's going to count the number of solds. I'm going to go ahead and pull it again underneath. Now it's doing it again, so I'm going to click on it, go to value field settings, and I'm going to change that to average. So now I want the average price to be calculated. Okay. So all of this is kind of showing up. So what we can do is just highlight all this information, right mouse click on it. I'm going to format the cells to currency. And I don't need two digital spaces. So now we have the average list price per neighborhood. Okay. Now what I want is average days on the market. Maybe I'm looking at something that sells pretty fast. So I'm going to click on days on the market property, and we want the average. So I click on the fields, and of course we want to format this to be just rounded up. So I'm going to format that. and I just want a number. So that gives me an average number. So now what I have done is, and I can just make a title here so I remember what it is. I'm going to merge those fields and put 20171 solds since 2012. Okay, so this is one of my reports, so I can remember what it is. And when you save it, I would go to File, Save As, and make sure that you save it as an Excel worksheet, or else you'll lose what we've just done. Okay, and just click it just so you have it saved. So here you can take a look at what neighborhoods have the highest turnover. So you can obviously scroll down. Here is Franklin Farm. I would highlight that one. And you can compare and contrast these. Obviously, if you see something with really high valuations, or that you want to analyze a specific neighborhood, then that's what you want to focus on. So here's McNair. Now McNair looks like it's got 5 different advertised subdivisions. So this could be a good place to target, because combined all of these, you can market to all of them, and that would have a pretty good turnover. So I can highlight that. So obviously you really need to look at it. Obviously there's more to Franklin Farm. So here's Franklin Corner, Franklin Farms, Franklin Oaks, Franklin Woods. Now if you know the neighborhood, Franklin Farm actually has a whole bunch of neighborhoods around it, and it's one of the highest turnover areas, as we can see from the stats here. And then we have Fox Mill Estates as well. So that's 120. It's not as high as Franklin Farm. And here is Chantilly Highlands. So I can see just from looking at these, here's Coppermine as well. And you can see here, the 3 of them here could equal something as well. Now, obviously there are, if there's new homes that were being sold, like Discovery Square, if we looked at this, we would probably could see a lot of new homes being sold as well. So you have to have your judgment on how you want to look at it. Ideally, what you would want to do is do a trend for each year. So for example, I look at the last 3 years, what has sold. So instead of doing 2012, I would do 2014, 2015, and 2016, and compare to make sure that there is a constant turnover in that specific neighborhood. Then what we want to do is we want to look at how many units or residents are actually here, so that we can get a ratio. And the way that I do it is I look at the tax records. So let me just shrink this down. And I come into legal subdivision. Let's say I'm looking at Chantilly Highlands in Fairfax County. And I'm going to click search. And when I click on export, I'm going to see that there's 998 records for that property, which means that there are tax records. So I can come in here and put 998. So out of 998, we're looking at 125 sales within the last 4 or 5 years. So that would give us a pretty good idea. So Fox Mill Estates is another one. So let's look at that one. So Fox Mill Estates are 862. So I can come in here and put 862. So let's look at Franklin Farm. And if you wanted to put the zip code here, just to make sure, that always helps as well, just in case. So here we can see, right, 304 divided by, we're looking at about 18%. Okay, so if I format this, actually I think I'm going to format this whole column. So I don't have to do it for the other ones. Format cells, I'm just going to do a percentage. And here again, we can do the same thing, divided by total. Now keep in mind that this is the last 4 years, right? 2012. So like I said, I would do one for the last 3 years just to make sure that the trend is there, but I wanted to show you an example of it. So then you can just copy if you want the information here as well. So plus 125 divided by 998. Oh, you know why this is having a problem? Because this is not in here as a number. So let me format this as a number. So if you have that same problem, it's because it's not formatted as a number. It pasted it as information. Now you're going to get it. It pasted it as text. So here we can tell Franklin Farms got an 18% turnover the last 4 years. Fox Mill Estate has 13 out of 862, right? So then you can take a look and understand your market as far as reach. So do you want to mail 1,000 letters or 1,600, get 12% or 18%? Now keep in mind that the EDDM mailers actually have multiple neighborhoods in the area. So if you know the routes that, let's say, the Chantilly Highlands mail EDDM mailing actually goes to specific neighborhoods here, you can actually combine the two or three of the neighborhoods that you know are in the same EDDM route and get a good idea of the target market that you can target, because to mail one postcard that is for a specific owner, you can mail 2 or 3 cards to the local neighborhoods. So that's what I have for you guys. And of course, you always want to save it so you have an idea of the turnover ratios in the area. So here, if I wanted to total all of the McNair Farms information and just have an idea, I can click on this and I'm going to do an auto sum and I'm going to highlight the count areas. So I have a 202. So, and I didn't do McNair on the tax records. So here, I want to pull in all of the McNair. So I'm going to put McNair star. Okay. But I want to make sure it's going to pull up the right zip code. So it's going to pull up all the neighborhoods that have McNair in it or that starts with it. So when I export, I can see it's 1118, and that's going to basically include the Land Bay and all the other ones. So you can actually check to see McNair Farms West. So they're all included, Land Bay. So here I can put, I'm going to put this information here. So then the calculation would be, again, I'm going to do plus this information because I want the total divided by the total. And that's 18%. So obviously, if the EDDM is mailing out to all of these at the same time, this would be a good target market because we're looking at 18% turnover for that, the 20171. And then you always want to save it. If you have any questions, give me a call, but this is how I basically calculate the area analysis or the turnover ratios. Again, I use this since 2012. Ideally, I would do one for 2013, 14, 15, and 16 just to see and make sure that each year there was a trend, that there was not some anomaly that enabled the homes to be sold. So you have to be careful about the new constructions that are being sold. So you'll have hundreds of sales in one specific new neighborhood. So just make sure you take a look at the details. If you have any questions, give me a call. Thanks. Bye.